Hi guys, I will be showing you how to construct your basic bodice block. But before we get started, it would be lovely if you could give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And also don't forget to subscribe. I have marked the bust point, BP, on the pattern. The bust point is where your two dart legs start. From the bust point, measure down and mark 1 inch. Then redraw your dart legs from that point to points Q and R. You will then draw a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around the pattern, except for at the neckline where the seam allowance will be 1/4 inch, but do not add a seam allowance to the centre front. Find the centre point of your dart and mark a point about 1 inch below your bodice. From there, draw a line to where the dart legs meet the seam allowance. On the back bodice, draw a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around, including at the centre back, but use a 1/4 inch seam allowance at the neckline. Once again, extend the dart legs past the seam allowance and draw lines from the points where the seam allowance meets the dart legs to the centre of the dart. We're now going to cut out our pattern pieces. Fold your fabric in half and place your front bodice pattern on the fold, then pin in place. This is the reason why we did not add a seam allowance at the centre front. Cut all around your pattern. For the back pattern, we will need to cut out 2 pieces, but not on the centre front. So again, fold your fabric in half and pin, then cut out your pattern. We are now going to transfer our darts onto our fabric. I will be using black carbon paper and a tracing wheel. You will remove the pins from around the dart and place a folded piece of carbon paper between the 2 sides of the folded fabric. Then you will roll your tracing wheel over your dart legs. Do the same for the darts on the back. Place the folded carbon paper between the 2 sides of the back. Be sure that the carbon paper will be printing on the wrong side of your fabric. Once your bodice pattern has been removed, the dart should be printed on your fabric like this. I am now going to show you a way of folding darts in half perfectly. Using a long piece of thread and a needle, starting at the bottom of your dart, you're going to add some stitches along the dart legs. Do a long stitch on one leg, then across the back bring the needle up through the other dart leg, then do another long stitch. Move back across to the other dart leg and do another stitch. Keep doing that until you reach the top of the dart. The stitches should end with the thread at the back. Turn your bodice over and the stitching should look like this on the other side. It's important to keep them as horizontal as possible. Grab the bottom and top thread legs and pull them. Your dart should then fold perfectly in half. Do this for all your other darts. While you're folded, you will then need to press your darts down. At your machine, you are going to stitch across your folded dart legs. Start with a normal stitch length, then as you reach the tip of the dart, reduce the length of the stitch to about 1 millimeter. As you can see, the dart was folded perfectly in half, and the stitching goes across the dart legs on either side. Do the same for all your other darts. You can then remove the thread that you used to fold the darts in half. Press all your darts towards the centre front on your front bodice and the centre back on your back bodice. To add the zip, place your back pieces right side to right side and pin across the centre back. Take it to your sewing machine and stitch in your 1/2 inch seam allowance. This will be a basting stitch, so use the longest available stitch on your machine. Press open your seam allowance. Centre your zip between the seam allowance as straight as you can, then pin across into place. Change your presser foot to a zipper foot, then turn your back bodice to the right side. Tracing your fingers over the zip teeth, stitch alongside it on either side. Using the seam ripper, remove the basting stitch from the back seam. now have a zip opening. If your zip doesn't have a stop tab, you can stitch across the bottom to stop the zip from falling out. Place your front and back bodice piece right side to right side, then pin and stitch across the side seams and shoulders. Once all side seams and shoulders have been stitched, you will be done. So thank you for watching. Bye guys!